guys, welcome back to my channel, Macy Makes Up. I have two new Tom Ford quads to review for you guys today. We will do swatches and demo both of them at the same time. These two quads are going to be Rose Topaz and Smoky Quartz. There's also a third quad release in the series. These are actually newly formulated eyeshadows from Tom Ford. The third one is called Tiger Eye, which I didn't pick up because I was more drawn to these two. And I feel like there were, at least from the online videos, there were some similarities, more so between Smoky Quartz and Tiger Eye. I think Tiger Eye is a bit brighter. This is pretty deep, considering it's a smoky color story. But I felt like choosing one, either Tiger Eye or Smoky Quartz compared to Rose Topaz, is a good contrast between darker, deeper, and then lighter. We also have a sparkly shade here, what looks to be pretty sparkly. But I'm really excited for these because of the new formulation, and also these are color stories that I have not tried from Tom Ford. There's nothing similar that I have. And we'll do some comparisons at the end as well with other Tom Ford quads that I have in my collection. So I'm going to first start by swatching Rose Topaz. So we have two satin shades, a metallic shade, and this looks to be a metallic sparkly shade. So let's start with the lightest satin shade, very, very smooth, and followed by the deep satin shade. Wow, this is very smooth swatch. And then we have the metallic shade and the glitter. I am very impressed with these. They're very smooth to the touch and very easy to swatch and very pigmented because I still have a lot left on my pinky, but I think my swatch here really transferred onto my wrist nicely. Then going into Smoky Quartz. All four are satin shades. I'm going to leave some room here because if we're going to do comparisons, it'd be great to swatch them underneath the different color stories. Ooh, I love how these shades feel. Wow. So far, just from swatches, and this is the first time I'm going in to swatch them. I didn't actually get a chance to do a TikTok or Instagram swatching video. They just feel great to the touch, and it looks really nice. And I do think it's also easy to diffuse. Okay, well, let's get right into it and test this on the lids. On the right eye, I'm going to start with Smoky Quartz. I'm going to use the shade here, and I'm putting that all over the lids. Taking the shade, I'm placing that right here onto the outer corner, and then building it into the crease. Next, I'm taking this shade here, and I'm just sweeping that onto the upper lash line and then diffusing it to the center of the lid. Then I'm taking this deepest shade here, adding it starting from the middle of the lid and moving it towards the outer corner. We're going to take our time with the shade because I want this to be a smoky look, but I want to be careful of how we add it and how we blend this out and diffuse it into the other shadows. I'm going to diffuse that some more, buff it out. And I'm taking this deep shade here. I'm adding that to the lower lash line. Then I'm ready to use the brush I was using before when I went to the shade to add that into the crease. I'm going to sweep this gently underneath. I'm not adding any more pigment to it. I'm just using what's left on the brush. I'm going to take Chanel's Stilo in the shade Contour Beige. This is what it looks like. I think it would really complement this color story here. And I'm just going to tight line on the upper lash line. And then also tight line on the lower lash line as well. And you can certainly choose to use a brown eyeliner or something even deeper, or if you want even more intensity, you can choose a black eyeliner as well. But I chose this because I really love Chanel's Stilos. They work well as kohl liners. You can also use it as like an eyeshadow base, really get it in there, kind of smudge it. You can also just use it as a normal eyeliner, just like this, above the lash line as well. And I find that it works really, really well. It stays, even for, the feedback I've heard is even for people with oily lids, it stays for them without having to do anything, you know, additional or extra to keep the product on. So before I put on mascara, I'm actually gonna do the look on my left eye and then we'll do the mascara together. I'm gonna start with the deepest shade and placing that on the outer corners. Then we're taking this soft metallic gold shade and we're putting that right from the inner corner and diffusing it to the rest of the lid. We're being very generous with this. Then I want to layer in this kind of like soft beigey pink, and I'm going to warm this area up with that shade. And then now I kind of have the basis of the look because I want it to be lighter right around here. I'm gonna go back into this shade, but in a lighter fashion, and then we're gonna fill the color in some more. So I can stop here and pop this onto the center of the lid and then in the inner corner, but I like to do more transitioning right here and perhaps even work an additional shade into the crease. So I'm gonna go back to this beigey pink and I'm going to diffuse this and work that into the crease as well. So you see more of a blended shape with the look. Now we did lose as I was, you know, blending the deep shade further along this way to the right. We did lose some of that gold, but we can add it back later. I just want to see first what happens when we pop this glittery shade. And I think instead of putting this glitter shade onto the inner corner, I'm actually going to use this light gold metallic shade instead. And then I'm just brushing whatever is left of this shade onto the lower lash line. And we are kind of smoking it out a little bit. We also want the same metallic shade here to come through, mix it a bit to kind of soften the appearance or keep the look soft, just like on the upper part of the lid. All right, so now I'm going to put on mascara. I'll come back. I'll also find a blush and a lipstick that would go well with both of these looks, and then we'll start with the comparison. For blush, I'm going to use SUQQU's Melting Powder Blush, and this is in the shade 03 Koi Meguri. This was an easy choice for me. I love these blushes, and anytime I have a reason to use them, I'm gonna do it. Just, I mean, it's so beautiful. It's got pigment. You can definitely deepen, or I should say add more, make it more concentrated, but you don't have to try too hard with placement. They're easy to diffuse and they're just very complimentary. It's hard to make a mistake with these. And I have not created January's favorites. I think at this point we're mid-February. If I can get to it in the next couple of days, I'll do one because these blushes are definitely on that list. So for lips, I'm going to go with the new Chantecaille Spring Collection. This is Jasmine in the Lip Chic formula. For comparison, starting with the Tom Ford quads, I have first here my very first Tom Ford quad, which is Honeymoon. Still one of my favorite color stories from his collections. And I want to swatch, by the way, this is the wet dry formula. So all of these shades here are metallic, and you can ignore the pinky. I have nothing on there. So these are pretty metallic. I'll swatch all three. And you can use these either as is, dry, or as a wet formulation, meaning you could wet your brush, dip it in, or yeah, I think that's the best way to do it. Wet your brush, kind of spray a little bit of water or spritz it on a towel and then dab your brush in. And all the quads with wet dry formula, there's really no satin shades or matte shades. They're all in metallic finishes, and sometimes you'll get a metallic, sparkly metallic, but nothing on the matte side. Then I have here, this is the Meteoric Quad, and I took it specifically because I wanted to swatch these two shades. This one is definitely a matte, which is a great comparison for the two new quads we're looking at. And then I do want to swatch a more metallic or sparkly metallic shade to see what the similarities or differences are. So here is the sparkly glittery shade, which doesn't have nearly as much pigmentation as what we have in, I think that is Rose Topaz. We have the matte shade. And the matte shade, I think it's still nice. It diffuses, it swatches pretty well, but it is not nearly as pigmented as these shades up here. This shade right here from Smoky Quartz. Finally, we have the deeper shade, which is really a metallic, but I'll swatch it anyway. And I think that looks like it's hit hard pan because I got a lot left on my finger. If you dig in some more, you can build it up, but I think that's definitely hit hard pan. The other two are fine though. So the new quads, the new formulation, these kind of satin shades are very pigmented and they're very smooth, very silky, but creamy at the same time. That's like the most notable texture difference between the new ones and the old formulation. In fact, this new formulation reminds me of SUQQU's satin mattes. So I just took one quad here to compare. It just has this sheen to it. It looks really smooth. I'm going to swatch this up here. I would say it has a similar texture. The difference would be the color payoff. It's not quite as concentrated. I'm going in for a second application. Not quite as concentrated as the formula from Tom Ford. And you guys saw I went in just once to swipe these. This took two to build it up, and it's not the cleanest, which I'm sorry, but I think you get the idea here. They're similar though. They have that nice silky smoothness to it, and working with these SUQQU eyeshadows, if you guys have seen the SUQQU videos, you know they're extremely easy to work with, much like these new Tom Ford quads. For my final comparison, I do want to take a different brand as well. This is from Chanel. This is their Douceur et Sérénité quad. I'm just taking this matte shade here. It's like a mauve-y. I find it to be really smooth, but it is more on the powdery side, and second application, not nearly as intense in pigmentation, but quite smooth. So if I had to choose between like smoothness and concentration of pigment, it's going to be Tom Ford, followed by SUQQU, and then Chanel. Well, there you have it. Those are my comparisons. I think the new formulation is great. It feels great. It looks great. I'm going to wear this for the rest of the evening, just see how the color stays on. I'm not going anywhere though, so it's not quite a wear test. I'll probably update you guys or include a comment once this video is posted and pin it to let you guys know. But I think the color story is really nice. I also don't have any Tom Ford quads where all 4 shades are mattes or satin matte, so this is a nice addition to my collection, and I like what I have here. This look that I created with Rose Topaz does remind me of Natasha Denona's Glam palette, like her meaty size, just because it turned out to be so cool once I started blending that deep brown shade out. So that kind of took me by surprise. I like to try a different look with the same quad and see what I might get. The gold metallic shade is very light and it looks like it blends right into my skin. The only difference the time that you can see is probably when the light hits it, and as I'm moving then you can see I have something on my lids, but just looking at it like this, I definitely needed to blend it in with a warmer shade, something with more pigment that stood out, and then using that glitter shade for the center of the lid. Pulled everything together. So that's my experience for Rose Topaz, but it does look very beautiful in the photos. The standout for me is definitely going to be Smoky Quartz, because the shades just stand out more on my skin. I don't have to try as hard or think as hard to create a look with dimension. There's a lighter shade in there that if I just happen to overdo anything, I can go back in, blend it with a lighter shade to lighten things up. Whereas it was kind of the opposite here with Rose Topaz. I had to use the deeper shade, which is only 1, to go into the lighter shades to create more dimension and contrast in the look. Well, thank you guys for watching. Let me know below what you think of these quads. Formulation wise, just 100%. I think they are great. Color story wise, I do like, I mean, they're both very pretty. I like this look here, but I think this one might be a little bit more versatile. And yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. I hope to get a January favorites video up as well. Take care. Bye.